Are you out of sight?
Is intended for mature audiences only.
Parental discretion is advised.
The man we have on the line right now, he is Thin C of Mo Thug Records. How you doing, man?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm doing beautiful, man. How y'all doing?
We're doing all right, man. We're just holding down the fort, trying to do a talk show.
That's right. That's right. You got to do it. You got to do it.
Jackal told me a while back, man, I got a guy that we have to have on this show. And I checked you out. I checked out a lot of your music, and you got some skills, man. Do you write and produce both, right? Correctly? You do music, write songs, you do like the whole thing.
Yes, I do. First, I want to say thank you, man. I'm glad you appreciate and feel the music, man. You know, but yes, I write and produce, perform, and play instruments and sing and all of that stuff. You know, it's a blessing, you know.
Right. So, okay, absolutely, and I agree with you. We're going to play some more of your songs throughout the course of the night. So if there's any listeners that aren't truly familiar with Thin C, they will be by the end of this program, because we will play some more pieces of your music for people who are not familiar. Now, I'm wondering, how did you originally get involved in the music business, entertainment business, and make it your life?
Well, originally growing up, my dad had a company, an entertainment company that managed and promoted giant concerts in Cleveland, Ohio. And so, you know, growing up as a kid, you know, sometimes he let us come to the concerts, and, you know, I would be around the bands that he managed, you know. So what he would do is he bought a warehouse where they could set up and rehearse. So, you know, growing up, we had a warehouse full of instruments and stuff, you know, and being that it was my dad, you know, in control, like, you know, I had to pick of the litter, just run around playing instruments and breaking stuff and figuring out how it worked.
Figuring out how it worked. Which instrument did you take to personally?
I took to the drum, the bass guitar, the keyboards, a little bit of guitar.
Right. Do you still play those same instruments to this day?
Well, I play them from a composition standpoint. In other words, I compose music doing it, but, like, you know, I don't go on stage and, you know, play instruments or anything like that anymore. I grew up doing that, you know, with gospel choirs and recording choirs and all that kind of stuff. I was, you know, traveling around, you know, in a great deal, you know, performing for venues of 20 and 30,000 church people, rocking out, you know, that kind of way, you know. So, but it's not like that anymore. You know, my concentration has went into consecutive music from a production and an artist standpoint, and you know, it's been a blessing, you know, and I'm just enjoying it and putting forth what I have as far as my true commitment to creativity.
Right. When did you start? You mentioned you don't you just compose your music and you produce music using your live instrument skills, but you don't play live instruments on stage. I can feel that. That's a totally different thing. When did you start playing in front of crowds?
My first
playing instruments or whatnot.
Yeah, my first introduction to that, I think I was like 9 years old. I started, you know, playing for a church that had a, you know, congregation of about 1,500 people every Sunday, and you know, I started playing, and after about a year, you know, I became the head drummer, and, you know, I started gaining respect from fellow musicians who couldn't really believe that a kid that young was, you know, rocking out the way I was.
Right. Absolutely. Now, I know you've been on the underground scene for a long time, doing music for a long time. On a mainstream sort of level, you're probably most known for your involvement with the group Bone Thugs and Harmony and their label. How did you get involved with them? And talk a little bit about your role, because you guys are obviously doing big things. You're on the road. You're making records. This Mo Thugs family, correct?
Exactly. Well,
right.
You know, it started back in like 1991 when, you know, some friends of mine who were also friends of members of Bones, you know, we were just on different sides of the tracks hanging out growing up, but we were all, you know, mutual friends, and we all were introduced in about 91. I met Flesh first, you know, and we met on some cool stuff. Like, they knew that that Bone did music, and they knew that I did music, but, you know, they wanted to see how we would work out relationship-wise, like just being around each other and things like that. And so our chemistry started off with, like, just kicking in and playing hoop at the, you know, courts in Cleveland, out in, you know, Wood Hill Park and all this kind of stuff. And then eventually I would say about a year into it, it was mentioned that I did music. And the guys in Bone did take it as an insult because, you know, I had a studio and everything, but it was just never mentioned, you know. So our relationship built on a friendship basis. And then, you know, right around 93, Flesh had came to me and asked me to start developing groups. So groups that were under the label, I started taking them in my studio and producing them and, you know, putting songs together with them and showing them the formats and how to, you know, really do it themselves as far as being credible artists with their writing capabilities and song sequencing capabilities. So, you know, it started building from that standpoint. And then, you know, the guys would hear it and they would really just be impressed all the time with what I was doing. And, you know, but I was a guy who loved Cleveland, and, you know, the guys moved out to L.A. early on. I didn't. I stayed back because I was having a lot of fun. Life was good, you know, right there at home. But right around 98, late 98, I started looking at things like, wow, the money's not coming in the same, and I'm just still in Cleveland. So around the end of 99, I decided to, you know, go out and spend some money on some property in California, Los Angeles. And the guys found out I was there, and we instantly just got back to work. Like, there was no hold up. There was no question. There was, hey, we're at this studio. Get over here, man. We're starting on a new album right now. You got to get in here and take over the production. And from there, things just, you know, really, really would just always take off in a good way, no matter what the project presentation was.
Right, right. What was the, what was the name of, like, the first album that you, like, had a lot of production input on?
Well, a lot of production input came in right around, you know, because, like, see, here's the thing. There are people who produce music and there are people who know how to produce vocals. And early on,
Correct.
Before I was ever given credit as, you know, producing music, I was, you know, kind of behind the scenes helping produce vocals, giving guys little melody ideas and different stuff like that to help things flow along. Like, musically, I started kind of taking control starting right around Mo Thugs 3, The Mothership. Like, you know, the solo project of Layzie's, you know, the El Burner album, Thug by Nature. And I had a lot of things to do with that album.
Dope record, by the way.
You know, from there, it just took over. The record labels and everybody, you know, really enjoyed the way I handled business and, you know, took lead as producer over the projects and stuff like that. And so it all marinated really well. And, you know, the calls just kept coming from there, you know, because like I said, people respected the work I did and the way I carried on with this group of guys that a lot of people figured no one's able to control. You know, but it's not the truth. You know, it's not even about controlling them. It's about letting everybody, you know, come to the table with their input creatively. So we just all mesh well and work well, you know. And in those days, you know, like I said, I came in and I was diligent about bringing my best foot forward musically, and, you know, things kept rolling from there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And the reason I ask that is because sometimes, I mean, everybody who produces on a record, usually the way rap music is and it has been traditionally, is there's like a producer, but it's really way more than just that one person. You know what I mean? You could have guys that really have a lot of influences on records, like, but you really don't know. Like for instance, the public at large has no idea how many tracks, let's say, DJ Quick did on Tupac's All Eyes on Me. Like the public at large really doesn't know that DJ Quick probably did half of that album.
Right.
Right. Because that's just the way it works. That's why I was curious. Now, the Mo Thugs family records is some of the first stuff I could remember hearing you on, for sure.
Right. Yep,
when did you? And that was my next question: is when did you go from the vocal production and the music production to the frontman sort of role? The rap.
What took place is I started like doing the vocal, like I would write the stuff and then I started laying vocals to the stuff I was writing. And, you know, the guys felt very, very strongly about that vocal work and were like, yo, why would we take you off of here? You know, this would be nonsense. They love the tone of my voice and they love my lyrical deliveries. And so, you know, they were like, no, we're going to keep you with the opportunity to, you know, stay on the songs. Like, you have a voice, you're writing this stuff, you're delivering it great, you're producing it, you know, there's no reason for you not to be on this material, you know. So that's when things started going that direction. But they were like, yeah, we're going to, you know, you're going to have to get pushed up, you know, front as an artist. And then the trippy part was, like, you know, no one really knew I could, you know, like, sing per se. You know, they all knew I was doing the rapping and stuff, and they knew I flirted with singing. But on Mo Thugs 4, I think it was, I did a song called Love Is, and it was an R&B tune, and it really went far. It got a lot of rave reviews, and the guys were just kind of like blown away, like, wow, how could you have kept this secret from us so long? And from that point on, it was like no refuting anything. Like, yo, you know, if you're in the studio, yeah, you might be producing, but if we call you to drop vocals, and that's what it is. And, you know, so in most instances when I'm in the studio now, it's like I get called to, you know, sing a hook or put a verse on something, but, you know, on top of producing music and stuff like that, or producing the song itself.
Right. And that's what's up too, man. Okay, let's talk about, we'll go back again, and I want to also, Jackal, I want to play some more Thin C music for listeners who are just getting hip to him tonight on Outtasite Radio. I really want everybody to know what's going down with my dude. Now, what's your most recent release? You got a new mixtape out, correct?
Yes. The most recent release I did as a mixtape is called Cannabis. It's an all-weed song mixtape. It's actually going to be an album. Right. I just did the mixtape as a filler, warm-up project, you know, for what's to come. You know, so, you know, first it was Street Bombs Volume 2, and then immediately after that I came with Cannabis, the weed mixtape with Papa Smurf and people like that, and it really came off well, and I really had a lot of fun putting the stuff together. You know, I was given creative freedom to just, you know, go inside my studio and develop whatever material I really wanted to develop, and that's what I did.
Right, absolutely. Who are some of the collaborators on your newest mixtape?
Well, on Cannabis, you know, I went in the studio, I was doing the project, and the Bone guys got wind of it, and so I had, you know, Layzie come in and collaborate on some songs. Flesh came in and collaborated on some songs. There's a new vocalist kid out here named Ishmael Herring. He's a very strong vocalist. I had him sing on one of the songs. I had an artist from Miami, Florida, by way of New York named Tangy, and, you know, he came, you know, and got on the song with me. So, you know, great people like this. One of my dear friends who's an ultimately talented guitar player named Clyde Drake, you know, he's the one delivering all the live guitar licks on the songs and everything. So the cast is not huge, but I just wanted a nice bowl of artists that would come together with this, that would allow me to, like, create and get out of them what I wanted to from a production standpoint.
Right, absolutely, man. I can feel that too. It's always good to have that really good team, but it's like the right size. You know what I mean? So everybody can connect. Right. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you get like 3, 4, 5 people, and it's just perfect because everybody is able to connect, if only for that moment in time. You know what I'm saying? But just for that moment in time, everybody connects, and what comes out is usually something really, really good. Have you you've been doing mixtapes for a while? Like, did you put out a new mixtape every year, every other year?
There's no real sequence to how I put out mixtapes. You know, I got 3 out currently. We got Street Bombs Volume 1, Street Bombs Volume 2, Cannabis. Street Bombs Volume 3 is in the works. My album Dispensation is in the works. So it's like I do mixtapes because I know that, you know, it's a part of the filtration as far as, you know, keeping music in the system, staying relevant, staying current with the artist that's out there from that standpoint in delivery. But, you know, I don't have a problem. Like me, I'm just a creative person. I can stay in the studio 24 hours a day. It doesn't bother me. You know, and I'll make music and songs. So whatever the application or platform it is for the songs to be exposed to the market or the consumer, then, you know, that's normally just what it ends up being. So it's not like I have a set schedule to shoot, or to record mixtapes and stuff like that. But I didn't want to rush too far past because I got some video shoots slated for some of the mixtape songs that I want to go ahead and get knocked out and just, you know, put out to the market so they enjoy the visuals to some of the material as well.
Right. So basically, you ain't got no problem playing the studio hermit role. You said you'll be in the studio 24 hours a day.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that at all. And most people who know me, they know I'm a studio hermit. Like, you know, any place I've owned, I've built studios into the homes where I can be right there and work from home. If not, you know, downtown at another studio in Hollywood or something like that. So, you know, yeah, I can be a total studio hermit. You know, I have a life, you know, but it's a little touch and go because, you know, of my work ethics and how much I do choose to work. But it's like there's no choices in the game. You know what I mean? Nowadays, you have to work your butt off, you know, in order to get somewhere or to get to whatever platform you're seeking in order to take things further from there. You know, so, no, I don't have a problem with being a studio hermit. Like, you know, my girlfriends in the past have had problems with it, you know, but, you know, they didn't have a problem with that lifestyle. They just had a problem with what I had to do to get it. Right.
Absolutely. What are some of for any of the the tech geek types that are listening in, cats that might be familiar with the process of making music. These are producer questions here. What kind of equipment do you work with? You work with hardware, software, both? What kind of stuff you work with that you want to share? I don't want you to give away any trade secrets or anything, man. Just generally, what kind of stuff you use?
It's no secret. It's no secret. I don't mind sharing simply because it's like
all
your
good.
ear dictates everything. You can have
Yep.
a Synclavier $250,000 keyboard in your room, but if you don't got the ear to make it come together and do something for you, it don't matter. But like
Absolutely.
I started off being an analog gear guy with the Elite keyboards and the Korg keyboards and Phantoms and MPCs and all of that. But then I started going into a digital realm, and I found that the program Reasons is one of the programs that can emulate any swing of an MPC, which is the original drum machine that most hit records have been made off of over the last 15, 20 years. And so, you know, a couple of programs have come about that can match that, but the capability of them storing more sample information is greater. And so I've started going in that direction. So I'll use Reasons 4, Reasons 5, you know, to do a lot of production. Exterior keyboard-wise, I have all of them turned into files where I don't need the actual keyboard, but I have the sounds of them.
Right. Man, after my own heart. Absolutely. You just had all the sounds. Yeah. You don't need all them keyboards.
Yeah,
now, remember back in the day, though, when half of your house was filled with every different keyboard because you had to have all the different keyboards? It's like,
I totally remember that.
Now you actually could park a car in your garage because you ain't got all them damn keyboards lined up in a row in them cases because them mugs was expensive, right? So you just couldn't have them out. You had to have them in a big old case that was 3 times as big as the keyboard itself.
Yes,
wow.
Indeed. Yes, indeed. I remember those days. You know, you're spending anywhere from $1,500 to $5,000 for a keyboard. You know, just to make sure you sound compliant with what's going on in the industry. It was really wild for a while. But like I said, you know, there are companies out there that have copied the algorithms of these keyboards and changed those into, you know, sound that can be used from within the computer without having that actual system. So, you know, a lot of it has worked out really well to the producer's favor. But, you know, it's up to the producer. You know, a lot of producers still are using MPCs, you know. But, you know, to keep up, there's nothing wrong with it. Like I said, it took the company, Propellerhead, the people that made Reasons, it took them 2 years of getting at me and emailing and calling and asking me to come over and check out the system before I even would look up at a Reasons system on a computer, you know?
Right.
You know,
I think I use so many live instruments, though, that the MPC is only used for so much. I don't think you've never heard any of my music, but I use so many live guitars and stuff that it's like... It's by no means do I make albums that are just the MPC. So I understand what you're coming from. You need much more, and that's why a lot of people switch to the software rather than the hardware.
Right. I need accessibility, and I move quick. Like, you know, it doesn't normally to put together, to compose a beat, you know, I don't normally spend no more than 20 to 40 minutes, you know, but that's because I have the machinery around me where I can move fast like that. And get it done. And I'm talking about from A to B, you know, the beat doing everything I needed to do before vocals are applied, you know?
Right. So what's your next project? Like, let's do a feature plug. Do you know the title of the next project you got coming out? Because people will be listening. People will be listening to this show on the archive 2 weeks from now, a month from now, 2 months from now. What should they be looking for if it's like one of my fair weather listeners that don't listen live every day and they're listening 2 months from now? What should they be looking for at that point?
What's on the docket? Cannabis, the album is coming out. 16 songs of pure marijuana bliss, you know, jamming out. After that, it's a toss-up between my other mixtape, Street Bombs 3, which is going to come out anyway. But if Street Bombs 3 isn't after the Cannabis album, then the company's going to have me come with my official, you know, album called Dispensation. And it's just about completed, but trust me, I've taken my time. I went into my Prince phase and my Kanye phase and my Dr. Dre phase and put together this album of mine, and it's really out there. It's really just loaded with great tunes, and just flavor for everybody, really. I don't make music from a neighborhood standpoint. I really try and do it where people all over the world can enjoy it if they get a taste of it. So, that's my aim, but that's what's to come. Cannabis the album, Street Bombs Volume 3, and my album Dispensation, on top of the other things that we got going on as well.
Absolutely. Jackal.
Good times.
Good times for sure, huh? Can we cue up a sample of some more Thin C music for the audience that
yes, sir,
that might want to check out some of this man's music? It's important. I want people leaving this show knowing who we're talking to.
Well, one song out of the mixtape Cannibalist that really hit home for me, it touched me deeply in the heart, was the song Cannabis, You Saved Me. Because I personally feel like I've been saved by cannabis. So I think we should play that one next. How's that?
I love that tune, man. That's Cannabis. That song is featuring my friend Ishmael Hiring from, Los Angeles, California. I hope y'all enjoy it. Cool Clyde is on the guitar.
Shout outs.
Thin C is on everything else. We rocking.
True that. Good times. Here we go. Cannabis.
Global. My niggas, let's go.
Yo, Papa Smurf, you killing her with this.
Cannabis, you save me. You save me. You save me. You save me. Cannabis, you save me. You save me. You save me. You save me. Cannabis. Blowing like Chicago wind, I know my home Mary's in. Vapor rather rolling papers, bones blunt, keep it blazing. Cannabis is calling, my medical card is talking. Just pull up to the spot and walk right in. This shit should just go nation trend. Topic of a lesser sin. Ain't nobody killing, ain't nobody tripping. I think they really wanna just cage me in. I smoke it till the ceiling starts caving in. Grown man shit, this ain't for kids. I love it and I'm blessed and that's how I live. Smoke it every day, stay out of here without a fear.
Now, we were talking, me and the Jackal were talking earlier. I hear you've been on tour. You've been out doing a lot of shows lately. What's going down with that, man?
Oh, man, we just had an absolute ball during the Resurrection tour with Flesh, Bizzy, Layzie, and myself, and one of the Bone little brothers, Stu D's, out with a live 5-piece band. And we tried to rock the socks off of every venue we touched every single night, And it was so fun. Everything went so smooth and rhythmically. You got a couple of hitches out there because you're dealing with a lot of people. But, we just knocked off like 35 shows in 5.5, 6 weeks. And it was immaculate. I can't complain. I'm really honored to have been out there. It's not my first tour. It's more like, my 100th tour. But, in these days and time, every successful tour is really monumental because, as you see, the artists that's out here on mainstream even, they have tour complications with ticket sales and things like that. And, we have been blessed to have the type of following where we have not had ticket sale issues. When we've gone to put together the tour and we sit down with the business and booking agents and all of that, like, there isn't a question as to if we're going to sell tickets. We're always blessed to be able to build the business as if we know that the design of it is that we're going to sell some tickets. We're not claiming we're going to sell out every show, but we're going to pack these venues. And we did that, and we had a ball, and everybody on the tour had a good time, and there's a lot of footage, some filming that got done, on a lot of shows and stuff from our own private film crew. So, it was just a wonderful thing, man. The Resurrection tour, whoever missed it, you missed a great thing. It's not our last tour, of course. We are getting ready to get some more tour planning done and be back out on the road here in the next, 4 to 8 weeks. So, but it's been a blast. It's been a blast. I was honored that the guys, requested that I, be on stage throughout the Bone show because I know the material so well and I know the notes and all of the arrangements and everything so well that they had me accompany them along with performing songs that I'm on with them. So, like I said, it was just an amazing, amazing time, and I can't complain, and I'm very grateful to God that it went down the way it did.
Absolutely, man. Where are some of your... I'm going to ask you to play favorites here. Okay, you say this is your 100th tour, right? Over the years, where are some of your favorite spots to perform? I know you don't... It's like you don't want to play favorites, but you got to now. Where's your favorite, like, when you see the tour schedule, right? And you look at it, and you go down the list, what are you looking for? What's that town you're looking for?
In most instances, I'm looking for any city in Florida.
Right, I feel you.
Word up.
Any city in Southern California.
Right.
But there are some cities out in the out in Middle America, out in like Colorado. Denver is always a lot of fun to look forward to. Out in Montana, Billings, Montana is a lot of fun. So places like that where the people come with their energy and their expectations, of a great show, and we give it to them, and they give us the energy right back. It's like, you love those places.
Right, and it's crazy how it's like people who just don't know would never know how they really want to do a show in Billings, Montana. It's like, you really, because I played there. I know what you're talking about. It's like, damn, you would have never known. Billings, Montana. You'd say you never even heard of that place before. And those be some of the loudest shows. Oh, man.
Yes, they are about it up there, and it's like they've sold out every time we've gone to Billings, Montana, and like I said, it's one of those incredible places. But like I said, any city in Florida, it's been the business, the crowd with the energy, the beautiful women, the playful atmosphere of everybody's spirits after the show, it's immaculate, down there in Florida.
Yo, and let me tell you, Bone puts together one of the best shows that anybody could see when they go to, when you go to a Bone show, expect nothing but the greatest. I mean, I went to one of the last shows y'all did here, or they did here in Florida, which was the East 1999 tour. That we did out here in Miami. And that was one of the best performances I have ever seen of a Bone or any artist. I mean, they blew it out the house. I mean, it was just a badass performance. So if anybody has not seen Bone anywhere in this country, I suggest look up the tour guides and check him out live. Check out Thin C. It is one of the best shows you're ever going to see in your life.
Hey, well, I actually want to put a little input with that. They don't call my friends the Beatles of rap for nothing. You understand?
That's right.
I'm saying this to the audience, you understand? We give a show, because we feel that the fans have brought us to this point with their support. Why in the hell would we get on stage in their face and half-ass? It's not going down. You're getting your socks rocked off 110% when you come to a Bones concert. That's just the way it's going to go. We're not expecting anything less of ourselves, and we don't expect the fans to either.
You know what I like? You know what I like about Bone Thugs and the Mo Thugs family in concert? Because I've seen a lot of video. I'm not going to sit up here and pretend that I've seen it live. I haven't. But I've seen a lot of video at a live show, so I feel like I've seen it live. What I like about them, what I like about their show is they do the songs that you want them to do. Like, you go see a lot of artists, because I'm sure you're a fan of the music too. Anybody who's into the music like you are, like I am, we're fans also. There's nothing worse when you go and see an artist and they don't do all the songs that you know them for.
Right.
So I could attest to the fact that if you buy a ticket to go see Bone Thugs, they're doing what you expect them to do, for sure.
Right. And we're going to sound like the record, because ain't none of this shit computer manipulated, you understand?
Yeah.
Yeah, Bone music is. It's original. It's delivered that way, and we are able to deliver it in real good fashion because, like I said, there's no manipulation by machine. What you hear is the real shit. No auto-tune, none of it. You know what I mean? It's the guys really delivering what they know how to do, and that gives us the capability to go on stage and do the exact same thing. And we would feel like assholes if we can't go on stage and sound like our records.
Right.
True that. Yeah.
And some people and they do all the songs. Like they're taking you as far back as you want to go. They're gonna do all the records. It's like some artists. It's weird. I don't want to say no names. I ain't trying to diss nobody, but some artists you go see them, and it's like they forget that, you know, like, you don't remember that song was platinum for you too? Why didn't you do that? Like, that might be somebody's favorite song. You see what I'm saying? Everybody ain't got the same favorite song. Yeah. If you sold 5 to 10 million records, then you probably got a big audience that wants to hear different stuff. That's one thing I could say about Bone for sure. They do not do that to their crowd. They do all their hits.
Right.
For sure.
Well, there's no way we play the crowd out. You know what I mean? They're too special to us and too important. You know, we've done events where we've had fans fly in from different countries and see Bone sit down and talk to them and perform live for them, all those types of things. You don't do that kind of stuff with your fans just to go out into one of your concerts and half-ass with the music or anything like that. So, you know, we really take to heart with what we do in front of the fans as far as delivering them concert that they've come out to, you know, and expect to see from the group, you know. So when any of us hit the stage, Mo Thugs, Bone Thugs, it's like, you know, we're there to deliver a show. People came to see you rock.
Right. One thing that always makes me think about Bone Thugs, even if I ain't thought about that group for a while, is that they were really, literally the last big musical contribution that Eazy-E made to the music world before he died.
Right.
They I mean, because you got to think, he brought out so much stuff from NWA to, you know, Ice Cube and Dr. Dre and JJ Fad and Michelle A and the DOC and Above the Law. It's like that was all Eazy-E. When they did you talk to these guys a lot around the time when they first got discovered by Eazy? Because I always wondered, how exactly did that happen? It seems kind of strange because it seemed like two different worlds. Were they in L.A. a lot?
No, well, honestly, the guys that went out to L.A. to meet Eazy-E but wind up flying back to Cleveland and literally meeting him because he had a concert in our hometown. But what you got to understand is, you know, Bone didn't play no demo for Eazy-E. They rapped in person.
That's
and when
what I heard.
That, yes, they rapped in person.
Yep.
And when he heard that, he reacted in a way right off rip to say, you know what? I've just heard something I ain't never heard before, and you guys did it well. Come get close to me, and let's see what's going on with this. And that process took place from there in a magical way. But what you got to understand, I want to say this about Eazy-E before we press any farther. He is not given the credit he should. Yes, he's remembered as Eazy-E the Great and all that, but you got to understand one thing people don't like to say about the man. He is the inventor of the last known new genre to music, which is gangster rap.
Right.
You understand? That's a genre. He's the last known musical genre inventor.
Correct.
That's powerful. He was taken from us early.
It's very powerful.
And then he had the tenacity to understand it and give you JJ Fad and NWA and Bone Thugs Army.
Yep.
Right, exactly. And that's the amazing thing about it is a lot of people don't really understand, because it's common knowledge that a lot of his hit songs, he didn't actually write all the verses and all that. And so And so, you know, Ice Cube wrote Boys in the Hood. MC Ren wrote Easy Does It. You know, DOC writes, you know, the other classic, the We Want Easy.
But it was his voice that everybody liked.
It wasn't just his voice. It was his voice, but it was his
presence.
It was his vision. It was his idea to call the group Niggas with Attitudes. It was his idea to speak on a street level, like rap. Make rap songs, but talk the way that cats actually talk on the streets without cleaning it up at all.
Yeah.
That was all
my
his
dude
idea.
spent time with the president.
Yeah, that was all his idea. The look, everything. That was all Eazy's idea. And even though he didn't write a lot of verses, make no mistake about it, it wouldn't have happened without him, because if you look at the type of music that everyone else was making in NWA, like Ice Cube was in the group CIA, and they sounded more like the Beastie Boys. Dr. Dre was in the World Class Wrecking Crew, and you know what kind of music they was making. That was way more of the early 80s. They look like the Bar-Kays or something. You know what I mean? So
Right.
Eazy-E should be, I mean, him, honestly, it's Ice-T and Eazy-E. Because Ice-T did the first street records. But there's a difference. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. It's not exactly the same. Like 6 in the morning is like a blaxploitation song. It's a street record. But the way Eazy-E approached it was just completely different. And you're right. You got to give him credit for creating that entire genre, at least as a concept.
Yeah,
at least as a concept.
What people have to understand is the mind is everything. So here's what you just broke down. Eazy-E's mind was the conceiver of a lot of these ideas. So it didn't matter that he didn't have the direct skill to put the ideas together. He had the intuition to bring the right people to the table and win. See, that's also another way to be a mastermind. So, no, Eazy didn't make the beats. Dre made the beats. But who went and got Dre?
Exactly.
Eazy didn't write the raps. Ice Cube and D.O.C. wrote the raps. But who went and got Ice Cube and D.O.C.?
Right. Eazy-E basically took...
He was the brains.
He took Dre and Yella, and he was like, okay, Yella, cut off that 70s porn mustache. Dre... No more surgery outfit, no more sequins, no more looking like the Bar-Kays. This is what we're going to do. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And that makes all the difference in the world, man. And he is the mastermind. He's the godfather, man.
Yep.
Literally, because even though, I mean, you know, he kind of came off when it got to the battle rapping and all that, and in the public opinion, when he was getting into battles after NWA broke up, his public image kind of went down some, but that was really just hype, because in actuality, no matter what nobody says, I know for a fact, Eazy-E ran that shit. Period. Yeah. He ran that shit. Bottom line. It's from the...
Well, he was getting paid off Dre records. He was getting paid off Snoop records. You know, let's be honest. He may have lost Dre and all the NWA members, but he still got paid. So he was really the mastermind. He really was a brain. I mean, the dude knew what he was doing.
What was amazing is what he did with Bone Thugs.
Yep.
Man knew art and business too.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did. He also spent time at the White House, which, amazingly enough, a gangster rapper at the White House.
Because what they did is he had what it was is he got an invite from the Republican Party, and the Republican Party only invites rich people. Okay, what happened was he made a donation, and he was a rich person, but they didn't know who the hell this Eric Wright was. So he made a donation to a charity, right? And that charity shared his name with the Republican, because I put it like this: if you make a $30,000 donation to charity, Republican Party's gonna go, okay, this motherfucker got some money. You see?
Yeah,
so they got his name. They got his name on a list and gave him an invitation, and that's all it was. It was just like, but if you think about it, what a move! What a move that is, to show up at the White House and you the dude who just did the song "Fuck the Police" 3 years earlier.
Yeah,
and you're legitimately there,
and you're supposed to be there.
Yeah.
That had to be. Is it now? Is it a coincidence that mistake was actually made by the first Bush administration? These Bushes is full of embarrassing moments, ain't they? Think about the embarrassment that had to be. Like, Mr. President, you're probably going to read this in the newspaper and see it on television, but I just want to let you know, we kind of invited Eazy-E from NWA last night, the Fuck the Police guy. Yeah, my bad. Damn. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but look at Eazy looked at it. He said, "You know what? I spent that little few $1,000 for $1 million worth of publicity."
That's exactly what he said. That's exactly.
That was his comment.
Wow, that shit is just crazy, man. But I miss that dude, and it's got to be a trip for Bone Thugs to just know that they're his last big contribution to the music industry. And I echoed the thoughts that Easy did when he first heard him. When I first heard that album, Creeping on a Come Up, with the Thuggish Ruggish Bone, No Surrender, all that stuff, I really said to myself, finally, something completely original, because it had been a minute. You know what I'm saying? It was probably a good, I don't know, it was probably a good year and a half, 2 years since I had really heard anything original in hip hop at all. You know what I mean? Yep. And for them to still be around now, it's amazing. Go ahead.
Yeah, the timing is everything. It's like you're now talking about a group who was blessed enough to come with a sound that has now changed the scope of the sound of music today.
Yes, absolutely. Period. And we could touch on that, because that's another thing that should be talked about more. The way they changed the entire sound from the production standpoint, with the double time, with the double time approach that was adopted by Timbaland several years later. He just made it a little bit more pop, but the double time approach to the slow beats, just the overall style, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely. Right. I man.
Like, overall style has influenced every top 10 song in the charts since they started emulating Bone.
Pretty much.
I don't care who the artist is. I'll play a Faith Hill song where she's trying to flip like Bone. I mean, it's like, it is what it is, And
Mariah Carey.
I respect her because she admitted it. She already said Krayzie Bone was her favorite artist. So it's like, that there's no hiding it. People who can admit it and run with it, there's a different look at them. Because they admitted it. Like, I got my flavor from this, but, I'm blessed with another piece to put to it, and here's where I'm going. And you got to respect that. But for the people who, oh, no, this is my style. This is what we did. This is how we came. See, now you're biting and you're lying. There's no respect for that.
You know how I know that they made a huge impact immediately is because, over time, like we just talked about, everybody's influenced by them. But when they first came out, in the next year, there was 2 or 3 complete rip-off groups. You could tell that these groups would not have got their record deal, period, if it wasn't for Bone Thugs proving that style. A whole bunch of I can't remember none of the names because they all came and went
I remember one, but I don't know if we should mention it.
No.
Yeah, I'm not.
It's crucial if we mention it.
Yeah, and so it's but the thing is, conflict. Anyway, yeah. But what's funny though is that you made an impact when cats could get on for a couple years and make a little bit of money and kind of just live out their dream in the game just because of you. Your whole, you know what I'm saying? They made a couple dreams come true. You know what I'm saying?
Literally.
Yeah, absolutely.
Literally.
That's an impact.
To be quite honest, I'm on location. Layzie Bone's here. I wanted him to at least give y'all a quick hello. There's been a lot of talk about the actual concept that he gave birth to, which was Bone Thugs and Harmony. So I just want him to say hi to y'all right quick. Here he is. Say hi, Layzie.
Yo, that's lovely.
What's happening, y'all? What's going on with it?
Man, we just interviewing your boy Thin C, man, talking about you, talking about your group, talking about what you mean to the history of hip hop and the influence that you had and continue to have in the way you guys' sound and your approach to making music just really changed everything. We're trying to bring that to the light for the radio listeners tonight that might not know the whole history of Bone. They might go 10 years back, but not the whole way. They might not see the whole picture. So we're just trying to really open it up so this archive of this show could really let them know what y'all are really all about and the influence and the impact that you've really made that ain't talked about enough, basically.
Well, you know, we feel the same way, but you know what I mean, over time and over a lot of diligence and us just being diligent at our works, man, you know, you can't suppress the truth for long. It's just like slavery and other ignorance that was out here. You can't hide the truth for long. So me personally, bro, I'm sitting back listening to this interview and I'm like, wow, this is a beautiful damn interview that y'all doing, because I'm hearing y'all touch on different aspects that I haven't heard writers or journalists or anybody even attempt to touch on facing Bone Thugs and Harmony, mainly because it's so, you know, it's so manipulated by the big guns, the major companies that run and keep their thumb over everything, you know what I mean? But I just wanted to say what's up, and I'm going to let y'all guys finish it, because it seemed like, you know, y'all breaking it down, man, and just for our listeners and our fans to know that y'all guys are giving a great insight on Bone Thugs and Harmony. We also got the book, the Bone Thugs and Harmony's autobiography is coming out, and we also got the movie that's going to tell us the truth, the whole truth, because Bone Thugs and Harmony, man, we've been through hell and high water. For one, you know, being kids from St. Clair, coming up off of welfare, 18 years old, getting out fresh out of school, taking one-way bus tickets, you know what I mean, actually meeting the man that we lied to the niggas on the block and said we was going to meet, you know what I mean, and then going from there to the Thuggish Ruggish Bone, still riding on the bus, you know what I mean, still riding on the bus and doing normal things that normal people do, to getting guapped up with hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars, you know what I mean, fresh out of Easy E pocket, to a year later, to the guy that believed in us so much was just dead in the 3-month period. So it was like, we've been through it all, man. We've been lightweight, robbed of our sound, you know what I mean, or I will say the industry tried to, but you can't steal authenticity and you can't hide the truth. So as we stand now, man, you know, everything that Bone been through, man, it only made us stronger, man, and I think we got so much more music in us. Like, you know, we walk around, when we are together as a group, I can look at my group and be like, damn, we still look 20 years old. You know what I mean? We still blessed with the fountain of youth. We still blessed with the, I would say, the charisma and the character to want to be the best at what we did. The reason why we was able to come with a different style, that took hours and hours and hours of practice together. You know what I mean? Bone Thugs and Harmony was a group 10 years before we actually made it. You know what I mean? Like, so
right.
Not me being 36 years old, you know what I'm saying, and feeling like I'm just now at the pinnacle of I can write a book, I can write a story, I can actually do the business. And you know what I mean? I can put a budget together and make it hold real weight. Like Bone Thugs and Harmony just getting started. And a lot of these artists is now, they are accepting Bone Thugs. Like, you'll hear them now. Drake say, man, shit, Bone made it cool to sing and rap. You know what I mean? And he real with it. So it's a lot of them young cats that really grew up off our music the way we grew up off LL Cool J and, you know, NWA and all that, and they giving the props up. So now the truth come to the light, and y'all fellas keep it real the way how y'all reporting it, man, and keeping y'all shows real on these radios, internet, all that, man. If we bond together like brothers, like how Bone we talk, we fall out, but we still, our brotherhood is impeccable, man. It's unbreakable, you know what I'm saying? And I'm giving y'all an earful because I know this Thin C interview, and you know what I mean? And Bone Thugs and Harmony, we always been super, like, surrounded by great talented men, you know, and women, you know, from the trades to the graveyard shifts to the poetic hustlers, from producing on albums as far back as the Second Mo Thug, and all these different things that we did, and all the 5, 6, 7,000 songs that I got with Thin, you know what I mean? He like my musical conductor when I'm in the booth, you know what I'm saying? So everybody needs inspiration from somewhere, and that's all the world should be about, bro. You know what I mean? Because them guys that learned off of us, we learned off of, like I said, LL Cool J, Boogie Down Productions. We go back then, you know what I'm saying? Like, we go way back, Double Dutch Bussin' and everything, you know what I'm saying? So it's like we all grow inspiration off each other. So it's cool if we learning, you know, we learning and we growing off each other, but it's not cool when you don't give the proper, you know, acknowledgement to those that, you know, put in the work and things like that. So
you know, man, the way I didn't mean to interrupt you, but the way I see it, man, I think the hip hop culture, we need to take a cue from the rock and roll culture. And what I mean by that is the rock groups that are like the Rolling Stones, the Beatles, Grand Funk Railroad, blah, blah, blah. Go down the list. It's like those cats are always given their props. We don't honor. Yeah, they got the VH1 hip-hop honors every year. I mean, that's not what I'm talking about. That's a TV show. I'm talking about a state of mind and the conscience of the hip-hop community. We don't honor our legends the way they do in rock and roll. And that's always bothered me. It's like, why can I could go see, every 2 years, I could go see the Rolling Stones in concert, and them cats is 70-something years old. And I like the Rolling Stones, by the way. But I can't go see Grandmaster Flash and the Furious 5 because nobody want to book them because it's like, oh, that's old school. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
We need to move past that and realize where it came from. And so, starting with recognizing Bone Thugs and Harmony and Eazy-E's true, what he truly did, creating the whole gangster rap genre pretty much from his own imagination, and just all of these things, it's important. It's like we should be proud. It's not like we just move on and it's like the next thing and like, okay, this is hip hop now. I don't think that's right. You know?
See, but what you got to understand, like, I take a lot of that, me personally, even though, you know, this is a big world and the hip-hop industry is so huge, I take a lot of that responsibility and say it's up to me to help change that perspective anyway, because we got so many railroads in front of us as black artists, man. You just got to, and you know, like the Led Zeppelins and all that, they not faced with the same social issues that we face with, so it's kind of a setup for us, you know what I mean? You throw Bone Thugs and Harmony straight off welfare rapping about the first of the month and give them $5 million, what you think we gonna do with it? We don't know what to do with it. You gotta learn.
Right.
So first of all, we gotta start financially educating our youngsters, you know, so that's my thing with my children. Like, you gonna know how to balance a checkbook by the time you in 6th grade, you know what I mean? Like, you gotta have that. We got to have that type of mentality, you know what I'm saying? Like, even like, look at the problems Michael Jackson had. Niggas almost gave up on him, almost forgot that he was the greatest selling artist all time, but because he was going through his trial and tribulations of which the world threw on him in so many aspects, you know, like, he had to die for us to say, damn, Michael Jackson is the greatest. Now my 5-year-old playing Michael Jackson beat it like it's brand new after he did, but not before here. You know what I'm saying? Like, we got to step up as a people, man. Just like, I feel so much stronger these days, man, because of the shit that I know, the knowledge that I gained over the years. It's like now we can't be stopped. You know what I mean? It's just now we just bind together and keep on doing different things to grow, man, and it'll come together, man. That's, you know, we can't
it's coming together.
Plan anyway. None of us sit down and write down the book of life, so we might as well roll with the punches and practice on excellence, you know?
Absolutely, man, and that's what y'all always brought to the table, man. I appreciate you getting on with us too, man. I didn't know you was around. That's cool. That's real cool.
I was checking you.
Real cool. Hell yeah.
Man, but it's all love, bro. I ain't gonna hold it. I'm gonna let Thin C close it out. Y'all be looking out for his innovation, man. His We album is off the hook. I'm telling you, like, that's one of the records out of this whole world, man. So, like, my dude is doing
Layzie, before we let you go, though,
Huh? Say that?
Before we let you go, though, man, this is Jackal real quick. I'm the co-host of the show. I wanted to say one thing to you, man. I saw you dudes up in concert down here in Florida when you were doing the East 1999 anniversary tour. And I wanted to personally thank you for giving me one of the best shows that I've ever seen live of any rap group. I don't know if your fans ever tell you thank you for putting on a hell of a show, but that was literally one of the best shows I have ever seen, and I want to give you props to you personally for putting on a hell of a show.
And I thank you very much, and on behalf of my compadres, I know they thank y'all too, man. Thank you as well. And that just gives me more energy. That positive energy made me just want to go even harder in the paint, make sure the show is even better next time. You know what I mean? So that positive energy in the air, we love it, man. Keep it going, bro.
Man,
I'll be there in front row, homie, for sure.
Yeah, yeah, man. Keep doing your thing, man. I appreciate you coming on. Your energy. You talk a lot of sense. You kick a lot of knowledge. You know what you're talking about. You're a veteran in the game. Just keep doing what you do, bro. Like you said, no surrender. You know.
Can't stop, won't stop, man. All right, y'all take care, man. God bless y'all, man, and y'all families and all of y'all endeavors. And hopefully we'll do this again soon. Here goes Thin C, the singer. Oh, no, I might put the rapper. I might put the producer. I might, hold on, he's just saying the song. I don't know which one he is right now. It's Thin C, though. Yeah.
He's a jack of all trades.
Yeah. So I just wanted to let y'all have that special conversation. You know what I'm saying, with one of my closest friends, you know what I mean? But, you know, like he said, you know, through and through, man, we just really, you know, take pride in putting together good soulful and feeling music. And not that it's even soulful, but whatever's making people move and feel good and think about real life situations and flip it around to something more positive than it really is. And then we feel good that we've helped, you know?
Yeah, absolutely, bro. Yeah. What now?
No, and thank you for that, man. That was a beautiful moment to have Layzie get on the phone and say the things he said.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, absolutely,
That's
man.
a blessing.
Do you want to talk at all? How under wraps? You guys are out filming a movie. We was talking on the break. You guys are out filming a movie right now. How much can you talk about that?
I'm not privileged to put a whole lot of information out about that because, you know, they still have a couple of things going on where they want to lock into what the title is that they're going to use. But, you know, it's got some heavy hitters in it like Bobby Brown, John Amos. I mean, you name it. You know, there's a lot of A-listers in this film, and we're just, you know, blessed to have been called in and, you know, made a part of it, you know. But it's not even a movie, actually. I made the mistake. It's going to be a Western sitcom on, like, HBO or Showtime. So, you know, it's in the works. It's developing real nicely. Like I said, it's got a star-studded cast. They got me and Layzie and Layzie's brother, Stu Dees. We're the bad guys, you know what I mean? And we're riding in on horses, tearing shit up in the town, you know. So, you know, real authentic, real cowboy business. We out here doing it, you know, right now with these big cameras, you know.
Right, on location, man. That's what's up, man. And I appreciate you guys taking out time for us tonight, man. It means a lot, and then I know it means a lot to the listeners also. So you do the acting thing, most definitely. You Layzie, you got a crew. Basically, y'all into the acting thing these days, like full throttle, right?
Yeah, we're into the arts, the acting, you know, and it's like, it just really comes with it, you know what I mean? A lot of performing in front of people, that's a form of acting, that's a form of being on Broadway, you know, we have to carry on an hour and a half, 2 hour show in front of, you know, huge crowds and stuff like that, and it have to go smooth and without a hitch, so, you know, we're used to the performance side of things, and, you know, it's just a different thing now of being able to, you know, correct yourself as many times as you want to with the words cut in action, you know, so it's a lot of fun and we really enjoy it and take it serious too, you know, it's not nothing we're doing just because we're in music. We really know that acting is a chore, it's a gift and it's something that must be studied and respected, and so we look at it that way, you know, and go from there, you know. But I don't. It's like, you know, I got all the love in the world for you guys and the fans. But I am being called back to the set. But I wanted to shout you guys out, tell you I love you. I wanted to let everybody know you can follow me on Twitter at @thisisthin_C. That's my Twitter. @thisisthin_C, and you can find me on Facebook under Amazika Thin C or just Thin C Mo Thugs.
Absolutely, man. Well, thanks for coming on the show tonight. We will have you on again. We will keep the world updated to the adventures of the Mo Thugs family. It was a pleasure. We're going to play some more of your music tonight before the show is over.
Yeah.
Everybody check out Thin C. Support these brothers. They're doing their thing, and it's all good, man. Absolutely. You take care of yourself, bro.
Shout out.
Much love, man. Much love.
Very, very special shout out to everybody in the listening audience. Your boy Thin C love you and appreciate you 110%. I'm one of those real cats that know I wouldn't be where I am without the support of every last one of y'all being involved in listening and supporting our music. So I love y'all, man, and y'all have the most fabulous night you can have. Okay, God bless everybody.
Bless you too, man. Yo, let's ride out with this one more track before we come back and wrap up for the show. No Drama, No Pain. You wanna tell us about this track before we roll out?
Yeah, man, I was in the studio recording, and like the beat itself, I had finished, and I sat back and I smoked a fat ass blunt of OG Kush. And the beat had me feeling good, and the melody just started teaching me. I don't need no drama, I don't need no pain. That's why I smoke, 'cause it goes away.
That's the business.
That's what's up.
Man, cannabis
Yeah, that's what's up.
I don't need no drama, I don't need no pain. That's why I smoke, it's the only escape. I don't need no drama, I don't